Hi! Setting priorities in life is a very crucial process that requires self-awareness, clarity, and consistent reflection. Let us begin with our today's episode of the podcast, wherein we are bringing a very unique combination that of aligning our priorities and then connecting it to profound joy which remains with us for our entire life. Let us understand the step-by-step mental process that we need to undergo when we are to align our priorities. Most often than not, people just tell us, set up your priorities and then life will be set. But then how? Let us see the process. Priorities setting begins first in our mind. So, the first step is self-reflection. We should begin by engaging in deep self-reflection to understand what truly matters to us. To understand this, we can ask 3 questions to ourselves. Question number 1, what are my core values? Maybe honesty is a value for you, maybe speed, maybe family. You list down your own core values. Ask the second question then. What activities or aspects of life bring me the most fulfillment? It could be writing for someone, it could be research for someone, it could be policy making for the other, it could be art, dance, you name it. But we need to identify what brings us the most fulfillment. Ask the third question. What areas of my life right now feel out of balance or need more attention? When you answer this third question, you will gain insight into your personal values, passions, and areas that require focus. So this reflection will help you create a foundation for prioritization. Step number 2, which comes after self-reflection, is defining our goals. Here we identify our short-term and long-term goals in various aspects of our life. Could be career, could be relationships, could be health, personal growth, our hobbies, anything. So, the question that we will ask here is, what do I want to achieve in the next year? Then in the next 5 years, and then in the 10 years, and so on. Next question within defining our goals is, what milestones will bring me closer to my ideal life? Here you will have clearly defined goals that align with your core values and purpose. The point that we are to note here that the self-reflection we did as step 1 will help us define those goals which we really want to pursue. And since they are supported by our passion, by our values, we will never slip away from our key goals. Step number 3 is to identify the non-negotiables. This is where most of us get stuck. This stage helps us determine what aspects of our life are non-negotiable. That is, the things that you must prioritize regardless of other demands. And what are the questions that we will ask ourselves? What commitments must I maintain? Whether it is health, it is family, is it work, you list down your commitments that you have to maintain in any condition. And the second question you will ask in this step is, what responsibilities are essential for my well-being and happiness? These lists of non-negotiables are to be included in our daily or weekly routine. These are things that we will have to do, so our calendar will have to portray them. Step number 4, evaluate current commitments. In this step, we analyze our current schedule, our responsibilities, commitments, consider whether they align with your goals and values or they don't. The questions to ask in this stage are, am I spending my time on things that matter to me? answer to this question will help you understand whether you are pursuing on the right path to your goal or have you digressed. The second question in this stage is, what activities or commitments could I reduce or delegate or completely eliminate? This will give you a very clear view of how your current commitments either support or detract you from your priorities. Stage number 5 is rank your priorities. Rank your goals and commitments in the order of their importance. Now consider the impact of each of these on your overall well-being and your long-term happiness. So what questions are we going to ask in this stage? What are the most critical areas of focus in my life right now? And the second question would be, which goals and activities have the most positive impact on my life? So now with these questions, you have a ranked list of priorities, and here you need to start with the most important. You will actually realize that maybe you were thinking that these 10 are my priorities, but to ensure your success, you have to be focused on the first one only. Second and third will depend again on your core values. Step number 6, that now we have our priorities already ranked. So our sixth step is creating an action plan. Here we translate our priorities into actionable steps. We break down our goals into manageable tasks and decide when and how we allocate time to each priority. So what questions we will ask here? What steps could I take today? Then you can ask, what steps could I take this week or this month to move closer to my goals? Next question in this stage would be, how could I structure my day or week to ensure my top priorities receive attention? This would become like a practical plan of action that integrates your priorities into your daily life. If they are priorities, they have to be done daily. So this action plan will give you that integration. Stage number 7, reassess and adjust regularly. It's not that you have made a plan once and you say it's an action plan so I can go on. We need to reassess and then see where all the adjustments are to be made. So what we would do is periodically review and adjust our priorities as some very bigger circumstances change. There we have to be flexible and willing to recalibrate our focus. The questions that we'll ask here, are my current priorities still aligned with my values and goals? See how crucial it is. In spite of having an action plan, in spite of knowing our goals, our priorities, we sometimes slip away. So this is the stage that brings us back. After asking whether my current priorities are still aligned with my values and goals or not, our second question would be, what changes do I need to make to stay on the track? So now a dynamic, evolving list of priorities that remains aligned with your personal growth and life changes would appear in your diary. Step number 8, we have to practice saying no. N-O, no. When we learn to say no to tasks, commitments or distractions that do not align with our priorities, that is what keeps us consistent. The questions that we'll ask is this opportunity or task in alignment with my top priorities? What happens is, when we are in this journey, a lot of opportunities will pop up. Some are so attractive that we tend to fall for them. So this practice of saying no will keep us on our track. As soon as this opportunity appears, you're going to ask, is this opportunity or task in alignment with my top priorities? And the next question you will ask here is, will this contribute positively to my goals and well-being? Now, better time management and focus, ensuring that energy is directed towards what truly matters, is what will be the outcome of this stage. Moving to the next stage, balance and flexibility. In this stage, we acknowledge that priorities may shift over time and that balance is essential. So we have to be flexible in adapting to changes and avoid rigid adherence to a plan if it no longer serves you. The questions that we'll ask here is, am I maintaining a healthy balance between my priorities? This stage would probably come into picture if you are running more than one activity or priority, especially when people have more than one businesses. And the second question here would be, how could I be more adaptable when unexpected challenges or opportunities arise? This whole activity, this stage will give us a balanced life where shifting priorities are managed with flexibility and mindfulness. This again, let's be clear, this is happening in case you have more than one priority, which generally works as say a job in a business or two business ideas. The best part of this entire step-by-step process is this stage number 10, which says celebrate progress. Recognize and celebrate your achievements, no matter how small. I think we have been repeating this many times in our various podcasts and in our blogs, in the quotes, in the reels that we present to you. They all have been reminding you to celebrate progress. This helps us to reinforce positive behavior and it helps us maintain our motivation and that discipline. So the question you may ask here, what progress have I made towards my goal? Once we get an answer, let's celebrate. The second question we'll ask here is, how could I reward myself for staying true to my priorities? I have my various ways to celebrate. I am sure you also would be having those. Sometimes I go and treat myself with my favorite food. Sometimes I go on long drives. Sometimes I take vacations to my dream places and so forth. So the outcome of this particular stage is we will have a sustained motivation and a positive reinforcement cycle that encourages continued focus on our priorities. I'll repeat very quickly these 10 steps. I'm not repeating the questions inside them. I am sure you must have noted while listening to the podcast, otherwise you could listen to it again. So, the step-by-step mental process to help us set and align our priorities. Number 1, self-reflection. Number 2, defining of our goals. Number 3, identifying non-negotiables. Number 4, evaluating current commitments. Number 5, ranking our priorities. Number 6, creating an action plan. 7, reassessing and adjusting regularly. Number 8, practice saying no. Number 9, balance and flexibility. And number 10, celebrate progress. Now we move to the second aspect of this podcast, the mental process of setting priorities and the radiance of joy. Both these are deeply interconnected because both involve aligning our actions and choices with our core values and aspirations. Radiance of joy comes from the true happiness, from the inner joy, and that comes when we are actually doing what we love. Let's see how they relate. Setting priorities involves identifying what truly matters to us, which often requires self-reflection and understanding of our personal values and goals. This is what we just saw in our first part. Now this process helps us clarify our purpose, and that is what brings us joy. When our priorities align with our values, we experience a deeper sense of fulfillment and joy because we are living authentically. By prioritizing tasks and goals that resonate with our core values, we focus our entire energy on activities that are meaningful and satisfying to us. This focused effort minimizes our stress and enhances our well-being, which further contributes to a more joyful and radiant life. When we invest our time and resources in what truly matters, we naturally cultivate a sense of contentment and happiness. Now, setting these clear priorities helps manage overwhelm by guiding us towards what is most important. This clarity is what actually reduces our anxiety and allows us to approach tasks with a positive mindset. When we are not bogged down by unnecessary stress, that is when we maintain a more joyful and peaceful state of mind. Prioritizing effectively leads to accomplishing goals that are in line with our values and desires. Now, this sense of achievement and progress fuels our joy and satisfaction, which reinforces a positive feedback as a loop. So it goes on. And as we reach our milestones that reflect our true priorities, our sense of joy and this accomplishment grows. Prioritizing also helps us create a balanced life by allocating time and energy to different aspects, be it our work, our relationships, or our own personal growth and self-transformation. This balance fosters a harmonious lifestyle where joy could thrive in various domains and enhances our overall well-being. This makes us more contented. When we set priorities, it also encourages mindful living. How? By making conscious choices about where to direct our attention and efforts. This mindfulness contributes to a more profound appreciation of every moment of life, of every experience, and that actually amplifies the radiance of joy. So, we have seen here that by aligning our actions with our core values and focusing on what truly matters, we create a life that fosters fulfillment, it reduces stress, and enhances our overall happiness. This alignment will not only bring clarity and balance, but it will amplify the joy and satisfaction we experience in everyday life. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of how we could connect priority setting with being joyful always, every moment, forever.